What's going on, beautiful people? Today I wanted to talk about a couple of myths and just misconceptions of your transition. I don't even want to talk too much. I'm just gonna get straight up into it. Honestly, the first thing, transitioning solves dysphoria, all your dysphoria. The reality of it is, it does help out massively. Like, I cannot say, like, words cannot explain how transitioning has changed my life for the better. Like, there's nothing in me that would want to revert back to when I was like 14, 13, 11. I missed 12, but don't even think about that. And all that, like, transitioning was perfect for me, was the grade A solution for me. However, although you are transitioning or you transitioned, it's a lot of mental work. It's a lot of mental work. There's a lot of self-image reflection that needs to be done. There's a lot of you're really constructing who you want to be. You're growing into yourself. You're growing into your identity. Yes, I said I am female to male. Yes, I am masculine. Yes, this, that, and the third. But what does that really mean? You know what I'm saying? Not only was I now thinking about and being extra conscious and aware of me transitioning as a transgender guy, but now I'm also mentally becoming more aware of my self-image. When I got my top surgery, right? In 2019, like, blessings that cannot be compared. The amount of liberty that I got from getting my top surgery, unparalleled. However, it provoked a lot of different feelings that I didn't think was gonna come from that surgery. Because before, it was tunnel vision, only like, I need to get these tatas off my chest. I don't need to think about or worry about nothing else. For me, I didn't even have a bra size, a cup size. I never wore bras prior. So when it came to getting my top surgery, my ideal vision of top surgery was keyhole. And that's literally, they take the tissue out of the nipple rather than doing the long scars across the chest. I was like, I want to, like anyone, wants to be as cis as possible, as passing as possible. And for me, ideally, was keyhole. And my issue was that, as funny as it is, I even posted a picture back in 2019 when I got my top surgery, and I had like before and after pictures, but it was a little bit too much because they got flagged down. But one of my breasts, one of the tits was a perfect candidate for keyhole surgery. Meanwhile, my other tit was like a droopy head ass eye type thing, where my surgeon was like, I cannot feel comfortable and proceed with the surgery doing 2 keyhole incisions with the nipple. Therefore, you're gonna have to go with double mastectomy for the bilateral scarring and procedure. And that had me down bad. And great kudos and everything for my surgeon actually being ethical and having morals for his choice, and putting his foot down and saying, yeah, I ain't gonna do that on you, brother, because that right tit is just it's titting a little too much for me. So kudos for him for that. But for me, that was a real fear-evoking factor, because I was like, I don't want the scars. I don't want it to look all, I don't know how my healing journey is gonna go. So I'm thinking, once I got testosterone, I was gonna feel all great and all that, which I did. But now I'm like, shoot, is my voice deep enough? Do I got, enough body hair compared to the next dude? When it came to the top surgery, yes, the breasts are gone, but man, my scars look a little bit, more prevalent than the next dude. I wish I had keyhole, because then I wouldn't have to deal with no scars like that. So it only grows you, not that it's different from anybody else. There's plenty of people that are cisgender that have to deal with their own sense of, growing up and growing into their own identities and sense of self. But now your consciousness is also kind of split between that transgender experience, but then also now that, transition to male experience on top of that. Because now my other thought process, and this is me, everyone is unique to their own, what they want to look like. But now I'm also concerned with the build that I want as a guy. Now I'm like, not only am I self-conscious about going to the beach, because to take my shirt off, I think about my scars, but I'm also like, shoot, is my pecs big enough? Like, is my pecs pecking today? Now, before I go to the beach, I do like, I got to get that pump going. So I'm like, shoot. I also feel like, because what they do, and actually I'm not a doctor, so I might be lying to you, but what I believe is true is that they pull that skin down, and when they're doing the what's it called, the stitches, when they're stitching it, I remember, and it's like no tea, no shade to nobody, but one of my friends said to me when I got my chest, done and everything, she was looking at my pecs and was like, why they look like that? And I was like, oh my gosh, because it looked a little bit, it was like this rather than like that. Obviously when you work out, like, it's gonna extend and expand your pec a little bit like that. So now when I'm in the gym, I be thinking about that moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, am I passing? Am I this? Am I that? So I be in there like this. I be doing my, like, that's why when folks look at me and they're like, you kind of small, but like your features are like very defined in certain like parts of my body. And I'm like, yeah, it didn't happen just because it happened. It happened because I was very intentional about this. I don't even know. I kind of went on a whole tangent about that. But what I'm trying to say is, transitioning doesn't solve all of your dysphoria. Things are gonna come and go. Your feelings about your body, the feelings about your sense of self, your mentality is gonna change as you grow up. But then also as you experience more things, as you grow up, as you anything in life. And that's not limited to just trans men, but it's something that you need to be conscious of and aware of. Because I remember when I was down bad back in the days, I was like, once I get my surgery, my top surgery, like, I'll be good. I ain't gonna complain about nothing. I don't want nothing else. La 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 la. Yeah, fairy tale land, because that ain't the case for nobody in this day and age. But yeah, like I said, it's a process about growing into yourself, and it's not like a light switch where you just click and things is all good and dandy. The next thing is that your transition erases your past. Now, no one really says this outwardly, but I think subconsciously most of us kind of think that this is going to be the case. And now, I'm not saying that you can't. Some people bury their past self, their past identities and everything like that. And some people, wear it on their sleeve. I'm someone that kind of wears it on my sleeve. And I don't have no shame about it, honestly. And everyone lives a little bit differently, so I'm not mad at it for nobody else. But for me, honestly, I remember when I was deciding with some of my homies that we wanted to go take a trip during college. So I was like, I bet, like, it's out of the country. We need our passports. I ain't touched my passport since I got it, and that was like 2009, like, went to Jamaica, family trip type, whatever. So when I had to dust it off, I looked at it and I said, oh, shit. So I'm over here at the post office trying to get it, get it updated and, submitting all the documents and everything like that. But then that's when I kind of was faced with myself and was like, oh, shoot, like, it says my birth name, it says, like, before my gender marker was changed and all that. So that was kind of like a realization for me, like you've been transitioning for 10 years now, and not everything reflects the way that you really think it reflects. Granted, I'm young, so I'm not thinking about, everything from, ground zero to now and how things would automatically change overnight. I'm rolling as the days go. But another instance of that is when I was younger and I was playing football. I was playing for my uncle's team, and I love football growing up. Like I still got the moves. You feel me? But yeah, I love football growing up, and I was a beast. So when I was playing for my uncle's team, I felt really good about myself. Like dudes was finally seeing me step out in the way that I wanted to see, wanted them to see me. And this is before I even took any of the medical did the medical transition or anything like that. So this is kind of like socially. So folks kind of know what's good. I don't remember what age this is, but any age prior to like 15, 14 was the year what this kind of was. So I want to say maybe like age 12. So basically, we had a family function, and I truly don't remember too much. I remember this one snapshot of a moment, but basically, my uncle was referring to me, and my youngest sister had to been like 7 years old, like wouldn't even put too much past that, and he was referring to me and said my birth name, which is Nia. I love my birth name, so don't even think you can really get me with anything, because I love that name. Like I'm gonna name one of my children Nia when they grow up, when they're born. Like it means purpose. You know what I'm saying? Swahili, look it up. Kwanzaa, look it up. Still true to this day for me. Facts. But basically, my younger sister was like, "Oh no, don't call him that. Like call him as this." And my uncle was like, "Nah. I knew Nia when she was first born. I know Nia now. That's never gonna change. She will always be Nia to me." And for me, that was kind of like my first family related like interaction where I was kind of being treated that type of way. And like, and everyone's different. Like, I wasn't gonna throw up like mad, shade or nothing like that. Like, I've always been one to kind of assess the situation, know where I'm at, and know how to react right after, and then inform. And I knew that wasn't cool. My younger sister had to be about 6, 7 at that time. She knew that wasn't right. She was sticking by me. I ain't never told her to do so. So that was, the kids know. The kids know. But yeah, that was one of the moments to me that kind of spoke, that was like, your past is always going to be your past. Again, doesn't matter if you're trans or not. No matter who you are, your past is always your past. You carry that. And that's not, a bad thing. I still think of it as a reservoir of strength, because I still know who I was in the past and how that got me to where I am today. And I'm not telling nobody, like, if you're triggered, ignore it or whatever. Address it the way that you feel is comfortable. But I don't want nobody to crumble under the type pressure. I learned from that situation, and I learned how to adapt and navigate those type of moments. Now I kind of make it to like a funny situation. Like I went to Walgreens the other day, and some reason my prescription was under my birth name. Don't know why, but the lady was over here asking me, "Oh, what are you guys on the same insurance?" I'm thinking they talk about my mother or something. So I'm like, "Yeah," and then they were like, "Oh, what's her birthday?" And I'm like, respectfully, I know her my mother be telling me the birthday, but not like the year. So I'm like, "Oh, can I just tell you mine, whatever." And they was like, "All right, cool." So I told them mine, and then they was like, "Okay, but what about Nia's?" And I was like, then I said the same birthday, and they was like, "Sir, I need you to tell me yours and tell me hers." And obviously, I was poking jokes at it at this point, cause like, you know what I'm saying, like shit. So I said on the same day, both times. She was getting real tight, and she was like, "I'm trying to help you. Tell me." So I was like, "Baby girl, I am Nia. And she felt so bad. She was apologizing profusely, and like, you know, it was like a gag at the end of the day. So there was like no hard feelings or nothing. But again, they kind of just reiterated that your past will always be your past. And excuse me. And I don't shy away from that. You know, it's also a teaching moment, because for me, I'm educated first. So in that moment, it was kind of like, yeah, it should have been fixed, should have been changed, should have reflected, you know, what is actually legally written down everywhere for me. But it wasn't. And most folks kind of have a one narrow view of what transgender looks like. So this was kind of like my chance to impromptu educate on that. And it was calm, you know what I'm saying? I didn't take nothing no ways. But that was kind of like my little thing about, yeah, all that. But listen, we're all different. My reaction ain't gonna be the same every single time. My reaction isn't gonna be everyone else's reaction. So tread lightly, tread lightly. But yeah, and I know I kind of already touched on this a little bit. Some people think that surgery is the end of all struggles. It's not, but it's not. Again, and I keep drawing parallels because, you know, whether you're transgender or cisgender, like, they have surgeries too. They have complications too. They don't get the results that they want every time too. You know what I mean? And I like to kind of allude to the fact that when I was younger, because I know I talked about I never wore, you know, bras or anything like that. Like, when I was 11, 12 years old, I was scrapping, hustling in the streets for some money. And then I was converting them over to gift cards. And I was buying like these tank top type things with binders kind of in them, off of eBay. Like, I was doing the whole nine since a child. Like, I was very wise and I knew exactly what I was trying to do. But yeah, I just want to address that, you know, people think that once you get surgery, like, that's the pinnacle. That's it. And for some people it might be, but I feel like generally, you're kind of just like in this next wave of things, as I mentioned earlier, as far as consciousness, where you're just like, for me, I'm 6 years post-op from top surgery. Yeah, I still kind of mourn the way I wish my surgery could have gone as far as results. Like, my shit, you know, to most folks, it's pretty much damn near perfect. But then I'm still looking at other people's results and kind of like, damn, I wish that was me. And now, lay it on top of it is me like, damn, I'm a little scrawny. I need to hit the gym. So there's a lot of things that go into it. And then lastly, you always know who you are exactly. And for many people, when they look at me in my transition, they're like, from the jump, it must have been so easy. Because sometimes, like, I definitely would agree, it was pretty streamlined as far as what I wanted, how I went after for what I wanted, and, you know, bringing everything to fruition. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. Like, there was plenty of times where I wasn't like unsure, but I was still building, you know, who I really was. I don't really share that too often because, shoot, I want to look perfect too. Shoot, we all do. But I didn't know from the jump that my name should be Sean or Rosiah or anything like that. Like, I started off with Nick because I thought that was slick. It was an easy transfer from Nia to Nick, you know what I'm saying? And that's when I got caught up in like the second grade on my tests because I wrote Nick instead of Nia, and then like I got my ass beat, you know what I'm saying? Childhood trauma, don't even worry about it. But and then I named myself Drake. I went to a predominantly white school, you know, right? And I know that a lot of the names I'm choosing kind of have a, but then after that, like, I was bouncing between so many names, you know. I went through the name Cole because I was like, yo, I'm messing with J. Cole, J. Cole's album. I wanted to name myself Kendrick because I love Kendrick Lamar's music. You know, I wanted to name myself Dre. I did that for a test run. Yeah, people wasn't fucking with it. And then I stumbled upon Deshaun, and I love that one. I really did. But then my mother was just like, yeah, I want you to get a job when you grow up. So I'm not gonna lessen the chances of you getting a job because of racism. And I know she was looking out for me, but I really like the name Deshawn, and now I'm not happy with Deshawn. I just have regular Sean, and it's okay. But I paired it up with Rosiah because I wanted something unique. I was obsessed with roses. I love the ending of the name Aya. It kind of has a little bit of a biblical thing to it too. And then when I was walking down the street in one of my favorite neighborhoods, it was like Rose Street or Rosa or something like that. And I was just like, yo, too many signs. Let me just put them all together. Because I was gonna name myself Isaiah too, but I was like, Isaiahs are usually menaces to society, so I'm good on that. Then I was gonna do Messiah. I like that the most, but then everyone was like, blasphemy. So, but yeah, that's really what I'm trying to really get at as far as the misconceptions or the myths or what you think transitioning is, but how much more complicated it can really be. And there's no tea, no shade to it, but like, just stay wise, stay on your feet, be open to learning, and stay resilient. I come from a lineage of the utmost resiliency, but that's why I don't let nothing really hurt me. I kind of let everything bounce off as far as like what people think that when they think they eating, but they really not. You know what I'm saying? And smile with joy, because you do everything that you can possibly do in your control to take ownership of your life. You know what I'm saying? And that's huge. I'm like looking off into a distance like this is some type of movie scene or something. I feel like I'm in my Denzel Washington era. But aside from that, this is what I have for y'all today. I hope you like what I got going on, and more to come. Deuces.